What happens if we try to create a file with a space in its name? That's something completely valid in Linux. So for example, let's try to create exercise1.txt. Okay, what should we have here? A file. We want to have a file named exercise1.txt. But see what happened here. We have two files. We have file 1.txt and exercise. Why is happening that? Remember that the first step that Bash perform before executing an order is to split the command by the spaces. So we are touching two files. This will be the first file and this will be the second file. But that's not what we want. We want all these texts to be treated as a single argument. And that is where the quotes come in action for the bash shell. So how can we avoid that behavior? So I'm going to remove the files first. Okay, we have some options here. The first option is to use the escape character. So, for example, the escape character is this character, and everything that is after that character will be treated as a literal. So, for example, if I put a space here, it won't be the cell won't split the order at this point, because this backslash this character is telling the cell that this space is not a separator between the arguments but a real space. So if we do that, okay, we can see that we have the file with the correct name. This is one option, and just in case if you want to use that character, you only need to put it twice, okay? But in case we need to replace a lot of characters, that's not a very good solution, because our command will be fooled with this character and will be very hard to understand. So we can use strings we can use quotes for telling the cell that something should be interpreted as a single argument. So in this case, we could do something like this. And see, those are the quotes. In bash shell, we have three different quotes. We have double quotes, single quotes, and the backtick. The backtick is used for command substitution. Is equivalent to more or less like this. So I'm not talking about it here. So we will talk about single and double quotes. So if I use quotes, for example, I'm going to remove the file first. If I put quotes here, then the correct file is created. And I can see in this case, it will be also possible with double quotes. We'll have the file here. What's the difference between single and double quotes? Because we have two different quotes, so they have different meanings. Okay, let's create a variable here with this name. So the first quotes, the first type of quotes we are talking here is the single quotes. So everything inside single quotes will be treated as literal. So for example, if I do that, okay, I'm going to activate this so you can see the order before being executed. So if I touch file name, then that's what the cell will do. We'll create a file with this name, with a dollar at first, okay? that's possible for X4 file system. So it has created that file with the file with that name. Nothing is substituted inside the inside single quotes, but it's very useful to be able to perform variable substitution and command substitution inside quotes. So that's the role of, I'm going to remove everything. That's the role of double quotes. So if I perform the same, but in this case I'm using double quotes here instead of single quotes, so the variables will be substituted by their values before executing the order. So here, okay, you can see it has changed file name by the value of the variable, and we have the file here. Okay, something important here is that glob patterns are not substituted. So for example, if I create some files here, txt file 2.txt, 3 files, for example, if I say echo file interrogant.txt, it will replace, remember the glob substitution, will search for files with that pattern and will replace the glob pattern with all the files that match that pattern. Something interesting here is that if you, in a glob pattern, if you put a pattern, for example, non-exist file, okay, in this case, if no files are found, it will be replaced by the pattern directly. Okay, so anyway, if I use a pattern here, it's being substituted, but here, if I use quotes, it won't be substituted. Okay, glob patterns are not substituted inside double quotes or single quotes, but subcommands will be executed. So, for example, the current date is, if I use this, remember this is command substitution, this will run date and will replace the exit of the command. Okay, it's executing date, it's replacing date with the results of the command, and this is what the cell will print. So command substitution is replaced in double quotes, variables are replaced in double quotes, but glob patterns are not replaced. The last thing that you need to know is how quotes work. So for example, imagine that I want to output this string. So I could do, for example, echo and add some quotes here. In other programming languages, if I repeat the quotes, it will be treated as a quote. Okay, but it won't work here. Okay, why not? Because the quotes behave in this way. When I write a quote, I activate the quotes mode, and it will be active until the cell finds another quote here. So what we are telling here is that between this quote and this quote, everything inside should be treated as a single argument. In this case, there is nothing here, nothing there, so it's like we haven't wrote that quotes. So this one, we activate the quotes mode again. This will be quote, but there is no spaces here or anything. So until here we finish the quote mode, and it will happen this again. It will happen the same as it happened at the start of the stream. So nothing will be active here. So it's active, inactive, active. This is quoted, inactive, active, inactive. Okay. It works that way. Every time I write a quote, it activates or deactivates the quotes mode. So how can I write this string? Remember that I want to write this string, and I could use the escape character. So for example, a file. Imagine I'm creating I want to keep the space here, so I could do that. Put this between a string. And with the escape characters, this won't deactivate the quotes mode, and this neither will it, and it will behave as we want. Okay, a file with the quotes, and we can also mix the quotes. So, for example, if I want to, but you must be careful with that. But for example, if I put this here and this here, this is what will happen. Okay, because this quote is inside double quotes, so it won't be treated as a quote. And I deactivate the quotes mode here, and this is one argument for echo. This is another argument for, this is the split characters. This is the second argument for echo, and this won't be treated as a single quote. So be very careful when mixing quotes, because this activation and deactivation behavior can give you some unexpected results sometimes.